Hey guys, it's Crypto Sniper. Yes, happy Christmas to you all. Big ass wish. Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. And last, possibly, maybe one more time, we'll see, before the Christmas crypto check-in. So we've been kind of quiet. Reason for that is we do not want to encourage trading in low probability environment. There's recently been a highly expensive event in the BTC market that had a high degree of volatility, and you need to give it time for the vibrations and the aftershocks to shake out. So you need to be in the trade pre the major blow-offs and spills, and then you need to be taking off with your targets into that environment, and then you want to let the market settle down. I'm not into chasing 15-minute, even hourly charts on minor structures. So let's tell you a little bit about where we are and what our take has been. Bitcoin. So we start with Bitcoin, the God market. And a little bit to say here. So you'll remember that call long, we started to go higher. This is BTC Euro. I'm intentionally chosen the Euro to start with. There's a reason, because the dollar has become a little bit of a story recently. You started to go into a bit of a broadening structure. This is the same on the dollar. I'll show it to you again on the dollar, but this is just a bit of a neater chart because you got the fiat, the God market of fiat, actually showing some strength for a period. It actually had a little bit of a headwind effect, and it skidded the structure that you were getting on BTC USD slightly. It skewed it slightly. So many people don't realize that. That's why we also look at Bitcoin against the NASDAQ. I've done a lot of videos around that. I'm not going to continue. So that was a key event what I highlighted in the circle, because that was a falling out of a megaphone broadening structure that was already on a bull pole. So typically when you have that ascending megaphone on a bull pole, it absolutely sets up the potential for a correction out of the lower line, which is referred to as a basing ascending grind line bagel. You can learn more about all of this, what's considered continuation and what's considered shaking out and a potential reversal. If you click the link that says www.themarketsniper.com below, book a call to chat there. We will never DM you on Twitter or in the comment section below at all, or on any other platform like Telegram. The only way is you engage us. It is a community of the willing, and if you wish to learn more and get regular updates, as I'm doing almost on a daily basis in some detail with our community, you can do that and learn to apply it. Anyway, so this, we warned of this being a potential head and shoulder, which turned out to be an accurate scenario. There was a little bit of heaviness to crypto during this period, and it's still been overhanging it. I mean, sentiment, what is the sentiment? We've got to check that out again. Check where she goes, quick crypto sentiment. The guys are in fear. By the way, the people are always in fear at the wrong time. Fear and greed index. But there's been other sentiment indexes that concern me a little bit. Actually, this has picked up a bit, 45. I think people are getting too out of fear, maybe a bit too fast. But yesterday it was 27, day before 28. Yeah, 45 is kind of already heading back to middle of the range. It's not super high fear. I'll tell you about my contra indicator, that is Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh my God. Anyway, some guys didn't like what I had to say about her. But she's absolutely contraindicated. We'll have a look at that in a bit. Anyway, the broadening, you bump up on this level. This was a key level. What was it? 50,000 euros. Law of round numbers. Absolutely played big. You got your right shoulder. You got your first break. There's the first break in the red. Down, and it made that double top to the neckline target by a whisker. A cat's whisker, and then back up, but it never ran where your stop should be placed. Stops, remember, on right shoulders should be up top there. And then once it came back down and started to skid again, you can go for the previous high once it reasserts to the downside there with a seller. That was your spiller event. That still brings us back to the day. That was the 4th of December. Man, that felt like yesterday, but actually 4th of December was some time ago. And you'd also had this spill, boom, 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 a little bit of an inverted in there structure, fractal underneath the basing ascending grind line. Looks like the return move and turns into a continuation spill. That gave you your neckline revisit there at armpit 2. Pit 1, you'll learn how we do head and shoulders correctly, in my view, in terms of practical trading instead of theory. Also, link below. Anyway, so big spill, you know all this. So we've been in this churn period, and this is just the reverberations of aftershocks. The buildings get damaged. The ones that are still standing are still got a bit of vibration in them. What had to fall over has fallen over. We called a Sol short during that period. Note, we stayed out of Bitcoin short, and a couple of our community members rode that all the way through. I've not wanted to do too much, actually. Where's our Sol? Come on, Sol. I got Sol. But the Sol. Yeah, there he is. So Sol was short. Let's just cover that quickly as well in that teeny weeny chart, around about an hourly. And you just made target. So you could have got in on the break of the bagel. You could have got latest in there. It's classic HVF performance, by the way. Big slap in the face after being a really strong bull. First setup, and then you get that break and feign back to the key triggering line. You then make first interim, and then you get back to the key line. You see that? First interim there. You see that level? Bang, spill, 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 running a legacy upside funnel, and you make second interim into a flag. That's your rally after your second interim. Down, bounce back up to a legacy key level of a funnel again, spiller, thriller, and that's all you got. No overperformance. What does that mean? Re-inflation. So yesterday on Premium, we were discussing it. And my essential feeling when we looked at Bitcoin, I'll go to the dollar chart now because some of you were like, well, I don't recognize euro. Where's that 50,000 euros? What is that in dollars? I explained that in actual fact, this looks like one complex first impulse. We have in a nice little channel grind up. We spoke about a little bit of a reflation here for both Bitcoin, and we said Sol will do better. I suspect a 2 will probably occur, maybe a little down leg, and then you get set to break this legacy funnel level, and that will come in the form of a likely squeeze, something like that, to get you. And you break with momentum here to get back up and above. That doesn't mean this is new mega bull pumpermentals. You'll probably rest back down. I think the market's going to be a bit benign. It's going to be facing a pretty firm dollar for most of its period. So it's not going to be, this is not uber supermoon stories. It is not uber supermoon stories at all. But that's reflated a bit. We'll talk about the others that we indicated to the community that would reflate nicely, including one we haven't mentioned in a while that was supposed to break and then extended a while. But let's go to Bitcoin in the dollar so that everybody recognizes that. So that was the one. Let's take that one, that chart. So this was why we were suggesting you're going to churn around these levels for a while. You'll see there's quite a bit of levels here. Where do all these lines come from? Good question he asked. I'll actually take one or two off, in fact. This is the legacy funnel for the failed. Remember we were talking about 84, that never happened. Yes, it never happened. It was possible. It was a rushed third impulse with a disproportionate second, but there was a chance because everything was going up. Too much rushing in and buying by the institutions. It made the second interim and then fizzled. But the most important part of that funnel that was broken to the downside before a target was made is that it was nestling around this key level of significance, which was our chosen head and shoulder. Let's just get that in a time frame where it shows up better than that. Do it properly. There you go. So that right there is 47.5. You can see the light blue number there, 47.5. Let's just detail it. There he is. You see him there. That's why he's running through there. And of course, that was where we had our rushed funnel as well for this possible move. Made second interim and failed. We warned that this was bearish, marginally higher high and pullback, rising wedge break. And then you had the broadening that could have bottomed there. Only to spill with a stab down. The 50K is the dark blue level. Also a key level, not the 50K euro that you were just seeing. The other one, that's the $50 case. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. So that's where these lines and levels all are coming from, in case you were wondering. So let's go back into the Bitcoin dollar and talk more about what was happening here. So overall, you were in a post-traumatic stress spell. This was the second slap down. You'd obviously clearly skidded into lows here, and then lower broadening. It's quite uncommon that you broaden like this and then you actually spill out the bottom. It's more likely when you have a bearish sell-off and you make marginally lower lows that actually you could go the other way. So that was quite foxy, that skidding, when you went super low and then you had your final spill. Note how you ran the 42, a legacy level as well of great significance, just run. But this price behavior has all been about the churning around the 47.5 neckline of that macro head and shoulders. And of course, as we've highlighted, a bit of a funnel level there. I'm going to take the intensity of those funnel levels down a little bit because the neckline is such a key. I'm going to make him dashed, actually. I want to make him more dominant. Such a key aspect of Bitcoin this year. The head and shoulder halftime oranges. That was it. You had your first cup gold nugget, making it to target, overperforming. You had a major reversal. You had a 55% loss in value, which we drew as a head and shoulders for you and shared on this channel. So what was this all about? Well, what we highlighted to the premium community is that you'd probably get a little bit of reflation and a little bit of calming down after that extreme fear. Let's just slightly decrease that. And it was all coming in a squeeze falling wedge like that. Squeezy, Japanesey, and when you've had a fairly firm bounce up like this, and you get a little rising wedge, you get lock stepping down like that, broadening, small break, then you are getting marginally lower lows. So let's do it in another color. Let's do the blue. We'll make it fat so it shows. There's a low, there's a low. And then this is only marginally just lower, and then this fails to make a new low. What you're actually getting over here was a kind of, almost you could argue, a rounded bottoming with these marginal lower lows and a squeeze into a final push out. So we said you'll reflate slightly. If there's anything you're not comfortable with your blue pot positioning, you'll have an opportunity to sell out higher out. Don't get out now. There's going to be a small amount of reinflation. Also, we drew, which may or may not happen. I don't think this is going to be a ripper. This is not super bullish season, but it's not, we're waiting to see. There's a sort of a tenuous event. You see that wick up there, a little bit of a W bottom over there. And we did draw, look, if that W bottom at the end trades out, you'll go. But this hasn't been fireworks, as you could have seen. The best part of the move was actually in the final W leg getting up here. Already looks a little bit, you could dribble back down. You've got this big ass number, 50K. That's USDK. We're on the dollar now, dollaris, and that is the 50K. So it's hanging heavy. You know you've iceberged above it very tiny bits of this price action since the spiller. But at the same time, you've pivoted in and around the 47.5. This has been a little bit above, a little bit below. So, you know, if I draw it with respect to the 47.5, that's your bit above the lines, and that's been a reasonable amount. And then the bit below is probably slightly less. You know, you got a little bit there, you got a little bit there, slightly larger bits here. And then it was failing to make new lows, and now it's back up. So this is pivoting. We often talk about key levels being levels that run through the price behavior, not just that at the extremity of the highs and the extremity of lows, which is overly biased support and resistance thinking. And this is why we're churning here. If you come up so firmly as we did here, and then you are very moderate on the down leg, you would expect this minor little bump. We also pointed to a couple of the tokens that would outperform on that after being the bear call being landed on Sol, which we tweeted out. We didn't do an individual YouTube for it. We didn't want to encourage. Everyone will say, oh, but you're a bear of the market. No, a single alt token on a macro basis is still bullish, but could be taken to the downside. We highlighted that this has a little bit of upward zing. We've just covered it in Sol. Who else did we talk about? One we had washed our hands of for a while. That failed to move was XRP. We're just out of time and sinking. We were too early. Early is wrong. It's a fancy way of saying wrong. So we were too early. But in actual fact, the structure now for XRP is better than it's ever been. And it was something I mentioned when we were up here, because we were talking about it when it was around here. You might remember this period here, saying, well, we want to incorporate this big first impulse, but overall the proportionality of that second and that third is out of sync. It would almost be better. And if you go watch the YouTubes, you'll probably see one or two of them where I reference that if we had a deeper dip. You don't always get what you want though, and we were getting ready to trade this. There was a possibility of a legal event occurring, so there was a bit of a news event that we were becoming conscious of that we expected, and then that can got kicked far down the road. But I think it's only been kicked down the road and will be dealt with, and I think this one turns into a major mover still. That's right, we're talking about XRP. You can be wrong, you could have cried wolf once, but that doesn't mean there's not a wolf out there at some point. And in our case, the wolf is actually an opportunity to get to $2.50 on this one. And you've just had, we said this looks like basing out at our RL2 to the community, and you were in the 80s, mid 80s up to 89, and now you find yourself at 95. It's still sub $1, the key blue level, $1 here. It runs through this pattern as well. Pretty equivalent each side of it. You know, there's the bit above, here's the bit below. Here's below, and here's below again. Buying in the pink zone on this one. If you're patient and you're not expecting it to give it to you just in the short term, you will get it. So what do I think happens? You go up and over, you might get very small chance to buy sub $1 again, and then we go. And when we go for 2.5. So that's a decent 2.5x plus possible overperformance that could come. So Ripple hasn't gone away. It just extended, the pattern extended. It wasn't breaking here as it had suggested at one point when it was going up here. And then, you know, Bitcoin got too weak. It wasn't yet ready. Can got kicked. This guy's going to go. It doesn't mean I'm a fanboy of the token. No, I'm dispassionately looking at things technically. As I said to other people, if I choose to do technical analysis on, you know, my hamster's heart rate, leave me to it. That doesn't mean I'm shilling. That I'm not paid by anybody to do it. People go, are you paid to do? No, I take no payments for doing any form of TA at all from anyone. Never have. No one's paid me to do TA or coverage on their token. You can keep asking, the answer won't change. I do TA on things that are looking interesting to me. And as a result, many things have not looked interesting for a long time and then become interesting. Same goes for Hex. I interviewed Richard. I do not ask him for money, and he does not offer it. So if I cover Hex, which shows I will mention, oh, I've lost so much respect for you, scam token. Listen, you don't know what's going to be the .com, the pets.com of this world, and what's going to be the Amazons. You really don't know. We think we know. We think we see something we don't like, or people have a hassle with personality or how someone spends their money, and you decide, stuff him. Let me tell you, everyone fundamentally was short Tesla, and they were all long Enron. Most of the Wall Street banks had given you Enron. It's absolutely hyper undervalued, within 3 weeks of the thing going bust. And everyone told you that Amazon was a loss-making piece of shit during the .com boom. That doesn't mean I'm shilling for anybody's token. I'm just saying, you think you know. You think you know fundamentally. And actually, we all thought we know fundamentally, and we all think we know that guy's a jerk or that guy isn't a jerk, and we all think we know fundamentally. And the truth of the matter is, they were all the people that were buying Enron and were calling Tesla short. Doesn't that mean I'm a fanboy for elongated muskiness? No. Could Tesla fall? Will it have major adjustments? Hey, he's just been put on Time magazine. That's fatal. 80% chance, by the way, within an average of 4 months, that his equity is going to be a lot lower. By the time you appear on a non-financial journal, it's almost like the perfect indicator. So I am saying something for that time on that time frame. And we've got guys in our community that long Tesla when we said to long Tesla that have made a whole bung of money. Right now, would we be longing Tesla? No. Does it mean I was once being paid by Elon and now he stopped paying me and I hate him? No. No one is paying me. It's crazy stuff. I came here to do Christmas wishes and now I end up debunking FUD. But most of you are too smart to do that. But you still see it, people in comments. And some aren't worth a denial. And sometimes it's just important to clarify. You consider yourself a person of integrity and you intend to retain that. And that means I'm talking about this token because my opinion is at some point it goes up and over, rests and breaks. That could occur February. It could even occur early in January. It could occur before Christmas, New Year. It could occur by March. I can't tell you exactly, but I have a feeling that that'll happen, and I have a feeling you'll see 2.5. And that we weren't wrong of view, we were too early, which is a different kind of wrong, but it's still kind of wrong. So it's about accuracy and inaccuracy. The wind conditions weren't quite right for the shot on that day, but they will be again, and it will be a high value target. So we've told you about that. So we spoke about it to the community guys as a blue pot hold. If you're blue pot holding, that means non-leveraged with money you already have or own. It means you don't have to worry about being perfectly accurate. You can hold it and you get your 2.5x. You bought it at 89 or 80s, and it goes to 2.5, not including any overperformance. In fact, you'll be going on for 3x potentially if it goes to 2.8. By the way, a lot of things have done that, particularly on the upside in crypto reverse. You get the big overshoots. So that was one that we discussed, and some of the guys might have moved into blue pot there. Metaverse is cooling a little bit generally, but we'll be back almost certainly. It's quite clear that the agenda is going there. So here's something I've been saying on my Odyssey channel, Reset Sniper. I'm not going to go full Blackpool on anyone here. Chances are they're very high. We've got Road to Ruin author. I'm looking around for the book. Jim Reichard's, who's done war games with the CIA as a consultant, which means he's probably high clearance, probably either in masonry or a CIA agent. I don't know. Maybe isn't either. I'm speculating. I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. But the Road to Ruin, and he talks of ICE 9, the freezing of the entire banking system. You've then had Klaus Schwab predict even worse than pandemic effects to the economy. A global hack will happen to the banking system. And then you have no less than Israel with a whole host of other nations that are currently drilling for such an event. It's absolutely a precursor to every major false flag attack, a drill. I'm not going to go too far with this because I don't want to get into Reset Sniper Strategy. We cover that in the Odyssey channel. You can buy library tokens. Even if you're in America, you can send use a VPN to another country if you could care to. You can buy you can send Bitcoin and Ethereum and buy a couple of LBC, and we make it very cheap. We want to support decentralized media. That means, guys, if it's for free, you are the product. If it's for free, you are the product. Nothing is for free. Your data, what you're watching on YouTube, what you're doing on Google is weaponized against you to affect your mood, to play mood games, psyops, all sorts of things, what kind of videos they'll put on you. If you want to watch what you want to watch and organically want to be there, and you want to be preserved from the data farming that they are making and the profiling that the social media companies that are becoming so high value, that are essentially the tech divisions and extensions of dark state, you should be in Odyssey. Otherwise, carry on doing what you're doing and keep giving your data to these guys and say it's harmless. What do I care? Okay, so enough on that. But so that's the talk on XRP, and the last time we posted was actually a short one on Hex, when we'd actually already discussed it in the community a bit earlier, and it was in and around the 13 and 14 when I first noticed it. Then it was 15 and 16. So again, people will lose their crap. No respect for you punting. No, I don't care. It's not about an individual. It's about doing technical analysis. This was a key turning point on overperformance bands as well as the funnel. That was the breakout out of the downside slide. We highlighted these three technical reasons. At that point, it was already 17.5. It'll moved up from the 13s, 13.9s. So we'd locked in that. Some of the guys have got in there, and then you've watched it go up. We pointed to the target being a key level, a pullback. We need to take out these purple levels, and then I could actually see it reaching the 37.5 for an RH2 at some point. That's just where I'm leaving that. By the way, does that mean that this token exists and doesn't get cleared out by some regulation or some other event occurs? No, but that same goes for just about all tokens. There's too many tokens. A whole bunch will get killed, same as .com boom. So you should take off when you make money. You should understand that. That doesn't necessarily mean everything should be 100% hodl, hoping for 5 years down the line with 5,555 day stakes. I mean, 12 years or whatever it is in number of years. But you can put some for the long term and it'll work awesomely, but take out what you put in plus some profit always on any token, not specifically to this. So since that call, this has gone up substantially. In fact, it traded 31, and we still think technically that can get up to approaching these levels, possibly just through. By the way, we called the head and shoulders on this after it traded 50 cents and said it could have an extensive fall. And getting out at 37.5 even will prove to be a good point to get out. You'll get a chance to buy back lower. You could have bought back at 12s, and you could have had 3 times more hex. So, you know, it's about building Bitcoin value. If something's got a chart, I'll look at it and I'll form an opinion. So we're on a long only Schiller. What was the other thing that I've spoken to you before that hasn't yet worked, but I think will? Let's cover it. I'm not going to tell you all the ones we discussed in the community. You can come and join us if you feel you are up for it. That's ADA, by the way. A small amount of recovery. This has been a big support area there, but it's been a real dog in underperforming so far. But a lot of things are getting a little bit of reinflation now. So it wouldn't shock me if you maybe near a relative low. That's not a call. That's not the one I was actually looking for. That's the one I was looking for. It has an A as well. Audio. So I think I've told you guys about this one as well. Again, we were watching it when it was flatlining here, and I was saying it's a bit high slung. I would prefer if it had a little dip out and down here, and we'd drawn this. Remember, complex shouldering. That's actually an inverted structure as well. Complex shouldering there for a left shoulder. That's right. Think of this as Spotify, blockchain Spotify. It's probably not the only one. Squeezy, complex shouldering again, and then break, revisit. You see that? That's your right shoulder. This is your Christmas edition. Hit us up with some puppy licks on the licks button. They've misspelt it. They put an E in it and some smears with an arrow. Smear us around. We appreciate it. It's currency for us if you've enjoyed what we've done. And want to keep seeing us posting a bit more, we'll do that. So that was the inverted head and shoulder that made that target over there, and that's why this is a big level through there. And you let go. You supported on it for a while. That was a ledge. Then you let go with the Bitcoin weakness, and you've essentially come very close to revisiting that 130. It's meant to be on the 130. So we are looking for this as well. Audio, and all of these things still have a bit of time to go. If you wade in like a full-on, you ape in here with leverage, you may be lucky and get the up run, but you might panic out when it starts to do that. I think this will serve you very well. The key thing about this particular call is the numbers. At the moment, it's 1.58. You may get a chance to buy it at 1.5s again still in this time. It may dip properly one more time if Bitcoin has a little bit of a wobbler day and maybe even just get below the 1.3s. But the targets here is going to be 4 through 7s for me. So we're talking 6.9s. This is a bit high. So actually it could come down a little bit. It depends where it eventually squares up. But I would still expect 6.5s to 7s. So if you're talking about something, we'll have to wait and see where that settles, because we'll need to see where the third structure is going to be, third high, third low, and that'll determine where our funnel will be. But it's going to be at least mid 6s in my opinion, and I think there will be overrun performance. These are the type of tokens that get super spikes. So yeah, interesting one that we're watching, and actually for a small market cap one, reasonably liquid. You're not sitting there forever trying to get 0.1 of a Bitcoin filled. And it had set up reasonably well also against Bitcoin. So this points to a big move in sats versus Bitcoin as well. So again, it looked like it might have been threeing, and then this was a broadening structure. It bled out a bit lower. It's not going lower to Bitcoin. It's made a marginally lower lows. That is the beginning of basing typically for us. The broadening structure, the down break, the broadening structure and the down break. And where are we? Well, where would I guess? Yeah, 3,600 sats. By the way, that's pointing to 11,000 sats. And I think your overperformance could see you clearly through 12,000 plus. That could be a 4x against Bitcoin with whatever Bitcoin is doing. And you still might be able to buy it in a block somewhere here. Might be a final dip where you visit even the 2.7 possibly. There was a fair amount of structure there as well in terms of that. There was a squeezy. This is a little bit of funneling, and that's why we think this is such an interesting area for it to re-support again, because of that inverted HVF that saw that spiller that did indeed perform. So key levels of significance in there. I haven't drawn them all in there. We have other draws. So that's a little bit of thinking aloud. You get these staircasing sells, then these fairly big rallies. Then you make a marginally lower low. Instead of getting these grindy up legs, which then have these bid absent sells like there and there, it starts to be something different. You start to have a bit more momentum to the upside and more weak selling off legs. Momentum to the upside, falling wedge, and then next thing you know, we get a break and you're going to be running. You could be making 12,000 sats from somewhere between 2,700 and 3,300 sats. So again, 3 or 4x potentially on the bidding there. But we've spoken of it before and we've been early. But that's because Christmas is going to be a leaner Christmas. There was a potential for the October-November move when we had the 84K target. Once that got invalidated, everything got pushed out and extended. So the cycle has extended for Bitcoin, as we suggested it would, generally. So we didn't think there was going to be the blow-off percentages that was December of 2017 for Bitcoin. But actually, you've been pretty becalmed and you're in chill. And the longer you don't have a blow-off, the more consistently you can continue to trade up with regular sell-offs like the period we've just had on an ongoing basis. So actually, you'll get to a higher number, but slower, a lot slower. So it's kind of tortoise versus hare. We're in more of a tortoising phase than a bull phase. And there's a little bit of stopping and sleeping and going the wrong direction every now and then with the tortoise. It's not the smartest tortoise. But all those things said, in time that'll come. So that's a little bit on crypto. The other key point we keep making for all you guys, you need to have 360-degree analysis. And this is what we talk about. There's been dollar strength. That has been a clear-cut impediment to Bitcoin, because what's dominant for Bitcoin is actually the key phase that I highlighted in a previous chart, where I showed you that the first cup gold nugget absolutely ran, and you had so many green candles in a row because of the 2.5-year technical structure that was set up against Bitcoin, where you had Bitcoin and dollar strength setting up the structure. So when Bitcoin finally broke, we were in a period of sustained dollar weakness that was anti-fiat. If dollar goes down, it's an anti-fiat environment. It's supportive for anti-fiats. It was supportive for gold, and it became supportive for Bitcoin. So gold started earlier, and then Bitcoin followed. You could almost argue that gold was a bit of an early canary in that sense. So don't wish ill for gold. Don't wish ill for other anti-fiats. You're spiting your own face. But this current structure, it depends what dollar does. Still a bit grindy. This I'm not overly impressed with this up leg. That's a little bit of a slap in the face. We hit a previous legacy level there, by the way, and that's why I think you got a little bit smacked. And if we broke this grind line, you could have dollar weakness for a bit. There's a possibility you could come all the way and revisit the neckline. That means we're going up slow on the dollar. That would be very supportive for both Bitcoin and all cryptos. And you could have a very good January, February, March if that were to happen. You can have a moderate return move, and we could start to go up again on the dollar. That would give you a little bit of respite and some reinflation for both Bitcoin and a number of other tokens, and then come back to being a bit of a headwind for a while. There have been spells where the dollar has gone up a little bit and the cryptos continued, but that momentum tends to there's lags. That momentum, if the dollar strength continues, quickly dissipates. So it's not something that happens for an extended period. The great flippening event will be when they both do go up for an extended period. That is when all currencies emergings are all in a state of high failure. We want to see the euro fail. So if you want to shout for a currency to fail, you want to shout for the euro to fail. And there's plenty of signs that will happen. But also, it's been going down very well for a while, and now it might just be a little bit due to a kind of rest here. A little bit of a broadening after an up pump. That could be a little bit more upside. So we'll see. Euro Swiss franc, also a bit of one of our trades for that we expect to do exceedingly well. Again, a short euro trade. Not sure how high this one will get. It might also just chill out for a bit and chop, be a frustrating market. I prefer to sit with my short there and just leave it, then get in and out. And that's a macro one. And unfortunately, when that spills, that's going to mean a lot of flight to the dollar. But some of that may find itself into crypto and gold and silver as well. And that could do a number of things. Do not underestimate the chances of this bank hack. And if it happens, it could happen in Q1, could happen in January, could happen on New Year's Eve while we're all sleeping, or any possibility could occur. And that could be very supportive for the dollar. A lot of money would disappear and you would all be bailing in banks. Do not have too much money in banks generally. Could crypto be affected? Absolutely. There are banks, unfortunately, associated to crypto exchanges. Cold storage could be one of the best places, but far from faultless. We know that Ledger's lost their email list. Was it Ledger? Was it Nano? Yeah, that's a Ledger, guys, because they keep sending out hacks and garbage. So, there are risks everywhere. But spread it around and have cash on you. Have cash notes on you. Go and draw cash. Okay, so watch, if you want more of that kind of topic sense, go to the Odyssey channel with a few library tokens. Go grab them and you can watch there, and you can stop being monetized and manipulated and everything else, profiled, your voice being scraped and everything else they will probably be doing to you. And if you think it's all been done already and it doesn't matter, you're a very defeatist state. Fight back, push back. Don't give them your data. Just because you have doesn't mean they have to get more. And it's also about manipulation. So enough on that. I think that's pretty much the crypto realm, taking a look and all of that. I'll just run past the... We did introduce to you the Bitcoin versus the NASDAQ, so I'll just pop that back in. Let's go. Put him back on. So I'll just divide it again by the NASDAQ. They've also been getting a bit of reinflation, but the stinky stoink market is very, very pricey. NASDAQ 100. So we'd said to you, there might be a bit of a stalling. It's too early to call if this is a bottom. It might be, with that super wick as on the spiller there. It did trade lower than this last relative lower low. And we've reiterate that for us, this will turn into a macro continuation pattern. Is it a rushing forward one like that? Could be. That would bring it forward, very quickly up, at a little bit of boost. That could come on the dollar weakness if that dollar does spill through that grind line I was showing you and pull back. Even it doesn't have to pull all the way back to the neckline, but if it did, that would give you a quick inflation here. And then you might ease again when it started to support and rebuild. You might get away with this breaking. But we need that. The key will be that event when dollar is still strong and Bitcoin is going up on a sustained basis on a dollar strength. I think the FX system fails on dollar strength, not dollar weakness. This is where everybody's mistake is overall. So that's broadly that. Was there anything else I wanted to tell you? Play safe. Enjoy your Christmas. Thank you for the support on the channel. It's great interacting with you. Get some time off the goddamn TV and the mainstream media. Go chill out. Crow looking quite good. A little bit of a parting shot. I still think there's something going on here. They're sponsoring everything. They seem to have deep pockets. We did get a target run here. A little bit of a pullback period. You don't have to rush into that one. Let me leave it there. That's what I wanted to cover with you. We started with the BTC Euro. All the best. Catch you later. And thank you very much. If there's guests you'd like to have on the channel, or you'd like to recommend us to other channels, we're really open to that. Put us forward. We'll do our take on technicals on any serious channel that is well presented, does good audio, and does not prostitute its integrity too much. We'll be happy to appear there. Put us forward, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for commenting, and tell us, where will BTC be? Leave your comment. End of January, is BTC higher? Let's give you the chart again. 49,139. Let's give it to you without all the lines. It's currently at 49,139. Will we be above 50? where will BTC be on the 31st of January, and which tokens, apart from, my God, Luna and AVAX, which tokens are going to be the biggest performers between now and then in the top 15. Don't give us, or maybe top 20. I'll give you top 20. Which is going to be the best performer of the top 20, and where will BTC be on the 31st of January? Your comment below. We look forward to hearing, and which will be the biggest mover. We'll see. Okay, catch you all then. Thank you for watching. Click the link below if you wish to get bullion on bullion vaults out of your bank accounts for the great hack that might be coming. Click the link below if you want to book a call to have a chat with us and take forward your trading and wealth building and wealth protection. Defense is often what wins championships, guys, in reset times. You're going to be shocked by what they're going to throw at us. They aren't done rocking the global system and keeping you in a state of turmoil. I don't think so. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your support over the course of the year on the channel. Bye.